is my first go at trying this. I just wanted to try and do some training to see if we couldn't make it a little bit easier to do transactions and all of that. So today I want to go through setting up a template on ZipForms to do purchases. So just go to zipformsplus.com and log in. Once you get on this screen, here are all of your transactions. Today we're going to work on creating a template. So we're going to go into templates. We're going to go to new, purchaser offer, residential. We'll call this residential listing purchase template 1. And you can make several of these kind of depending on what you would like to do with it. And then choose to automatically apply it or not automatically apply it. Typically I do. Since this is a sample, I'm not going to. Alright, so now we've got a template open. We need to start adding documents to it. So add forms. So when we do a purchase agreement, we will need the purchase agreement, and we would also need to create some folders in here. So typically I create one, signed purchase agreement, and then create a folder for all your signed copies to go into. That way when you get them back, they'll have somewhere, be able to find them easily. So we'll go ahead and put this into the unsigned file. Okay, so we'll go in here and fill out the selling broker information. That's EXP Realty LLC. That is our office code. And then I'll go ahead and put my name here. And then your MLS number. And so there's a few things that you can go through and check now that will just make it a little easier in the future when it comes to filling this out. So typically I will put all bathroom mirrors, kitchen appliances. You can put whatever you want. Home heating fuel is typically not included unless they have propane at the house. So I just mark not applicable. If something changes, I can always change that on a future deal that comes up. But at least in the template, it will be already selected. So typically, I will put $500 earnest money. And then I like to deliver it within 3 days of acceptance. I would go ahead and leave all of this blank, unless you're making a specific one for investors or something like that. Then you could add possibly another method of payment, add the addendums. We may do that in a further video. Time for obtaining financing, I put 5 days. And you can leave any of this or all of this blank, just filling in whatever you think is easiest and most common for you will just make it easier filling these out down the road. And then typically we like to do possession at closing, unless there's a reason why they can't. I typically waive survey. So just go on, fill out most of the boxes the best that you can. If something you don't know right now, just go ahead and leave it blank. We do want to have both the lead-based certification disclosure and the seller's disclosure signed before we allow our clients to sign a purchase agreement. So you want to make sure when you send this packet out, you have both the filled out seller's disclosure and lead-based paint, if applicable, to send out with the purchase agreement when they sign. Typically, we don't want to do an abstract of title. We want to get a title insurance commitment. Typically, buyer will select a title company. The taxes, this is an important part. Basically, Indiana pays in arrears. So basically what that means is we're paying for last year's taxes this year. And so today is February 5th, 2020. And if I were to enter into a purchase agreement today, I would typically say that my client is going to pay the May 10th taxes. And how that works is the seller would pay for up to the day of closing. After that, up to May 10th, the buyer would end up paying. And this is totally negotiable. We pay twice a year in May and November, so you can make this May if you want and save your clients a few $100s, or potentially a few $1,000 depending on the deal. So we're getting towards the end here. Typically there's not a homeowners association, but for most of these I put a 5-day contingency in there just to kind of cover any unexpected things that may come up. There's time to deal with them. If you have attached any addendum to this, you want to go ahead and list that here. Any special conditions, go ahead and list that here. On the template, typically it's not important, but if you're making, again, an investment specified template, it may be more important. Typically we won't do a limited agency transaction, so I go ahead and check that. And then I go ahead and just put in a time in here. Leave the date blank. And that is it. We'll go ahead and save this. And then we can go ahead and put an e-sign template. We want to go ahead and add that. We want the signed purchase agreement to go back in the signed folder. And we will want buyer 1 and buyer 2 to be able to sign. And there is that. And so that's the gist of creating a template in ZipForms. Hope this helps.